Ladies and gentlemen, we're joined tonight by the Romford Bull. Now, I said to Mr. Streets in the corner when we saw this young man out and absolutely destroy his opponent the other day that basically there's no one really that's boring from Romo, ever. And shout out to Romo because Romo's like 20 minutes up the road from me. We've all been there. We have the the next gen of British heavyweights with Johnny Fisher. How are you doing, dude?
Oh yeah, thanks for joining us, mate.
That's a good introduction. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. And listen, it's a good start. I got myself off to a good start a couple of weeks ago with a good round one stoppage. So all systems go from here. Just got to keep going and keep learning.
Good. A good start would not be what I would describe that as, because in the bubble, it's disturbing. Listen, it's disturbing when you hear the shots with a crowd. I was at the O2 and I heard an AJ punch a couple of times. Yeah. That's disturbing. I can only imagine what it's like when you hear it that clearly when there's no crowd. Mate, it was appalling. You just heard it and you went, "Oh, that poor man."
Yeah. The thing is, Matt Gordon's a tough guy as well.
He really is.
And they haven't floored him, and he's been stopped on his feet all the time. So for me to down him twice, I'm happy with that. It shows my punch power to people.
Fuck
proper
yeah,
power.
dude.
Mate, proper power.
Came through the TV.
Do you know what the most alarming thing for me is? You're 21, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
No, 22. So I turned 22 last week.
Just turned 22. Yeah, my bad.
Happy birthday, mate.
Happy birthday, dude.
Thank you very much.
So you've just turned 22. You're a solid 6'5", and what I would describe as an absolute unit of a man. What's terrifying for me as someone that's 38 and 5'4", give or take, depending on the heels, is that you haven't even really got your man size yet.
No, that's it. That's the thing.
Fucking petrifying.
And the thing with heavyweights, right? They don't mature. Everyone says it till 28, 29, 30. That's when you hit your prime. So I'm still building, and I'm training with Daniel Dubois as well, and he's still building. So it's great for both of us to be in camp together to bounce off each other.
Absolutely. We saw on your gram today that you're doing rounds with the Double D. How's he doing?
Triple D.
Triple D, yeah.
Trying to like Daniel Dubois. Listen, I'm a good friend of Joe Joyce. So I've helped him to prepare for that fight, and I always spoke highly of Daniel, even in that. I said, look, Daniel's got huge power. He'll be a champion one day, but it's probably a bit too soon for him. And it was shown to do that. But he's hungry as ever to come back. I've been training with him for the last few weeks, and let's hope he can rebuild, because he's another great British hope we've got.
Yeah, he really is. And it's not that far, because it was a pretty bad injury, weren't it? Like, is he all right now?
Yeah, I think things are basically back to normal. We're sparring soon. So we spar today and we're sparring Friday. Yeah. So he's been good. But obviously we've got to monitor it, and he's got to do. I'm not privy to everything that's going on,
yeah,
but it sounds like he's okay and he's hungry to go, and that's the main thing. And hopefully the doctors, we've got great doctors doing it, so they'll sort him out.
Nice. Do you want to just run us through, because obviously 22, you without playing the young old man card, all of that stuff. You're young, and you're young for a heavyweight.
Yeah.
And how did you get in? What was your inspirations? How did you get into the ring in the end?
Listen, I've boxed since I was 6, 7 years old. I've always done it. That's when I had my first gym shows. But even before that, I had boxing gloves on and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's been there. But my journey is quite unconventional in the sense I stopped boxing when I broke my hands, when I started playing rugby when I was about 16 at university, at sixth form, I broke my hand playing rugby, and I continued playing rugby up and through to university at Exeter till about my second year, until my hand healed. It's long story short, operation, consultancies, it took forever to sort out my hand. Finally got sorted second year of uni. I started boxing again. I had 2 fights for my uni, 2 round 1 knockouts in the amateur competition. And then from there, started sparring Joe Joyce. Done well, came back, sparred him a bit more. Went to go out to Vegas with him for the Dubois camp when it was scheduled for a year ago. And then after that, we came back summertime last year. Sam Jones says, "Do you want to turn professional?" And I'm like, "Of course I want to turn professional. Nothing
else."
I
do.
Yeah. So I just took the chance, and we're just taking everything as we go, one step at a time. And so far, so good.
The hand's all right now.
Hand's solid, but it's just it got
clearly.
It was only a tiny couple of fractures. That's all it was, like really, really small ones. So it didn't get picked up. But obviously, if you're punching with it, you can feel it. So it just took a good surgeon to sort it out, who thankfully helped me, and now I'm right as rain.
I mean, your boy Joe Joyce is all about hand and wrist strength anyway, isn't he? That's like the majority of thing. Like, he just sits there just doing hand shit over and over and over again?
He's
Have
a
you
machine.
started just to,
He's just a machine. He's a
Yeah.
complete machine. That's what he is.
Nice.
He can take a shot. Jesus.
I've seen him spar. I've sparred him. We've seen him in spars, and you see in the Dubois fight as well. Dubois landed some huge shots on him, and it just doesn't affect him. I actually found out facts from my manager about Joe Joyce. He went for testing at Saracens at Allianz Park to do physiology tests, bone density tests. They've done the bone density test, and I think it's something like he's got the bone density 6 times the amount of a normal person.
That absolutely doesn't surprise me.
Yeah,
to be
that's
honest.
some Yoel Romero shit.
Yeah.
Just dense.
Yeah. You like that fight. I mean, listen, I don't know Joe at all. I've never met him. I've never spoken to him, but he's been I'm again, like you said before we even press record, like honesty and transparency. Up until that Dubois fight, he was very hard for me to warm to for some reason. When you saw him doing press, doing press, sure, he was cool off camera. I don't know if it was like a hard thing. That was the first time where I just thought, because they said to him, "You took some shots," and he went, "Fucking did I?" And then it was like, "How did you feel when they ended the fight?" And he was like, "I was so like I was happy." And you just he ain't that bad.
That's the thing with Joe. He's not that he's not flashy in any way. He just goes about business. When I first met him, you think he's being off or horrible, but he's not. It's just the way he is. He doesn't change his personality from being a normal person to being a heavyweight contender or a champion. He's just a normal guy, and that's how you know he's a genuine guy as well, because he's just the same. It takes a while for him to warm to people. And after a couple of years, me and Joe are decent mates now. So he's a genuine guy, and he doesn't mean anything by it. It's just he's very laid back, extremely laid back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like how? I mean, your training camps, like, are you now like perpetually just in the gym, complete a near constant training camp, ready for a nod at any time?
Yeah, so April, May time, I'm looking at the date. That's what Sam Jones has told me. That's what Eddie Hearney's working with. So I'm in training now. I've been training solid now. I had a week off and ate everything I could, all the rubbish in the world. And then I'm back to training the last couple of weeks, building back up. And I'm nearly back to where I was, to be honest with you. So just about staying ready, ticking over. And when I get a date through, we can start getting the relevant sparring in, ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, is it like, because I heard you on an interview after your debut, and you said, you know, that it was quite an interesting thing. You said quite clearly, like, I don't need to do this. I want to do this, which is, on the rarer side for fighters. So do you want to just like run me through, like, what is it about it? Is it just like your purest form of competition? Is it the out thinking and out doing everyone?
I said I could have had an easy life, but I've said that because it's not actually an easy life, some of these jobs that people do, because it's just as stressful in many ways. So I don't feel that was fair to people. But I am saying in the way that the physical pain, the physical hardship you have to go through to be a boxer, and the mental strain is unlike any other sport. But I think that's where I belong. I love the highest of challenges. Even at school, I loved doing everything, and loved throwing myself in. And boxing was always ingrained from a very young age in me. My dad used to box. My granddad was a big fan. Where I'm from, boxing's massive. And if you get the chance to be a heavyweight contender or prospect, unbelievable opportunity. And I'm the sort of guy who always puts 100% into everything. So what better sport to do that and have that applied than in boxing?
Absolutely.
Have you always just been a unit, or did you have like a growth spurt?
Well, if you look at my first ever amateur fight when I was 11 years old, I was a 70 kilo 11-year-old and just like a big bulldog of a boy, like chunky. Like, I weren't fat. I was just, you could tell I had puppy fat, and I was just like, I had to have a big growth. And I got to about 14, 15. I shot up, became a beanpole. And then from about 17, 18, started doing a bit of weights, playing a bit of rugby. And then I went to uni and got even bigger there. And now I went from being like a bodybuilder. I looked like a bodybuilder, to be honest with you, when I was about 19, 20, because I was just doing loads and loads of weights. Now I'm turning into like an old school boxer type of build, which is good because you don't want to be too muscle bound. So I'm just still growing, I think.
That's insane. And I was going to ask that, is strength and conditioning like a massive part now, or is it more on the boxing side, a bit of a mix, or?
It's boxing. That's all I'm focusing on at the minute. I do a bit of strength every now and then. I've got Kevin Reynolds at Origin Gym who really helps me out with my strength once or twice a week. But Mark Tibbs, my trainer, it's all boxing focused. When we want to do a bit of strength, he might say, "Go on, John, do an hour's strength session." But I got caught in a habit a year ago of strength and conditioning all the time. 80% strength. I was just doing weights.
Right.
That's not how you. If you're a boxer, you need to spar. You need to hit a bag. You need to do pads and mitt work, and you need to skip, and you need to do road running. Old school fighters done it. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. And I really do believe in that because I've seen the other side of it, and now I'm on the other side of it now. And I really do believe that's the old school methods work.
Absolutely, mate. It's a skilled sport at the end of the day. Thinking toward it.
You've got to learn. You've got to learn to box.
It like wildly scales, doesn't it? It's like in a 5-year cycle. Like you have 5 years where people are just all about, you see in the build-up programs, they're slamming balls and doing fucking battle ropes and all manner of stuff on the curved treadmill, and then you have 5 years where you just literally just see people doing skills training.
We couldn't even look at a weight. They'd be like, "No, it makes you big and bulky and fucking slow," and then it was all the rate.
When I look back at videos from a couple of years ago, and I'm doing all these band workouts and jumping on boxes, it's great, it looks great, and it makes you more athletic. But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty of it, them sessions I could have spent doing a sparring session or learning some technique stuff. And boxing is an art; it's not just a science. So you have to learn the skills and the trade and the tools. And being around someone like Mark Tibbs, Jimmy Tibbs, and Steve Andrews, my assistant coach, that's where I'm going to be learning how to be a good boxer, not jumping on boxes.
That's it. I mean, that's it.
It's also like a very different game when you're 6'5" and clearly on the lick of the heavy-handed side. So like you're going to have that naturally anyway. So it's about the craft, right?
I don't need to build any more natural. I've got natural strength, and a lot of heavyweights do have natural strength. You're never going to win a heavyweight fight, very rarely, just through being, I'm stronger than you, because everyone you're going to come across is going to be 17 stone plus, strong, and they're all going to be conditioned. So it's about that boxing ring IQ, your boxing skills. That's what's going to get you through. Being strong will only get you so far.
I mean, the Wilder Fury fight's the perfect example.
Exactly that. He can dominate it because of his boxing skill and his intent.
Yeah.
How much of a student of the game are you? Is it just all consuming for you?
I do, not all the time. I wouldn't say I'm one of these people who's watching back all the old school fights all the time, but I'd say I'm well schooled and know my old school boxers, and I like to watch a lot of Lennox Lewis and Tommy Morrison's fights. I like watching them guys and Frank Bruno.
Tommy Morrison?
Yeah.
Really?
Great left hook on him. I like watching his fight.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Mate, that geezer, his left hook saved him from so many big fights, and I think still it's he suffered probably the worst knockout of all time.
That was horrific.
Mate.
Yeah, that was terrible. But that's the thing. He was played by a weak chin. Well, it might not even be a weak chin. When you get hit by a 16, 17 stone heavyweight, you don't want to get caught flush. And I've learned that from Dave Allen, actually. He told me it's not just about... he never took shots clean, if you know what I mean. If you're going to get caught clean by a heavyweight, the chances are you're going to be in a bit of trouble. So it's about riding shots, and maybe that's what Tommy Morrison's downfall was. But you can tell he wasn't the most durable of characters, was he?
No, he had a lot of demons, bless him.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think there's anyone better to be sitting there and studying than Lennox. Like Lennox is a top 3 of all time.
Yeah, he's my favourite boxer of all time. He messaged me actually a couple of times as well, and I was unbelievable. Followed me on Twitter when I first turned pro, and he said, I don't always see eye to eye with Hearn, but I think he'll be a good move for you. And then just before my fight, he messaged me saying, the more I prepare, the less I worry. Take that into your fight. And that really settled me down. That was really good to do to someone.
Mate, that is epic. From the person you looked up to here.
Oh, it's unbelievable. I was just pinching myself, thinking, this is unbelievable. What's going on?
I was like that when I got a retweet from Ariana Grande. I'm joking. I'm fucking about you, man.
What's wrong with Ariana Grande?
Nothing. I've got 2 little girls, mate. It's all I listen to. Lemon Little Mix, constant. I need something a little bit different. Did you watch Lennox's documentary?
Yeah, the Untold Story.
Yeah,
that was really good. And I also watched the Bruno Tyson one, and they sort of airbrushed Lennox Lewis out of that one a little bit, didn't they?
Yeah, they will do, though, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, they did do a whole documentary on him a few months ago, the Untold Story.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't give it all to Lennox all the time.
No,
that's pretty special that he's giving you a little nod. Would you reach out to him and just say, look, I'm gonna be in the States, like I'm gonna be out, give me a little something.
He's what I've always looked up to. The last undisputed British heavyweight champion. It's just, you don't get better than that, do you?
I think he was the last undisputed
champ.
The last ever to be undisputed, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the brothers split the belt up.
Yeah, they wouldn't fight each other, obviously, would they?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
No. When you look at the current heavyweight landscape,
Yeah.
let's go like the top. Let's obviously we got AJ and Fury, right? Let's push those aside, and then I think you kind of have to put Wilder as number 3. Just
Yeah.
you kind of have to, right?
Where he's been, and he's been at the top for that couple of WBC.
Exactly. You know, he's lost once.
Twice.
Then you got the I mean, once on paper. We're not going to get into this again.
Yeah.
But then you've got like a list of most of them can be anyone at any time. You got like Wyatt, Parker. I mean, you got Del Boy in the mix, Povetkin, Usyk, of course, Ruiz. Exactly, like Ruiz. I've got really high hopes with Ruiz.
I think he's looking good. He's looking in good shape. You've seen the size of his legs.
Yeah,
unbelievable. But he's looking
Godzilla.
in good shape. Yeah. But listen, you've not only got them guys. There's other prospects coming up from other countries. Have you seen FA Jagbo is another one?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There's another guy, an Eastern European guy, Makhmudov or something like that. Another like a huge beast of a man. He looks really. I can't remember, but there's other prospects. Not only in Britain, we've got a good few coming up, but there's always going to be a good crop of heavyweights coming through, and you've got that, as you said, them top 3, 4, and then there's that list of 6 or 7, the Hrgovićes, them sort of guys, and then you've got these other prospects coming through, not only in Britain but all around the world as well. So
it's proper exciting times for the heavyweights. It's like really rejuvenated.
Yeah, because you think back to 2010, 2011, the Klitschko years. Like there wasn't much on offer, was there? To be honest.
Well, you know it's bad when HBO stopped like televising their fights. You know, fuck.
That was it. But what it was, you got to give credit to Vladimir Klitschko in a way there because he
absolutely
he had a game plan. It might not be the most exciting to watch, but Emmanuel.
Hey, it worked.
Yeah, it worked. Nice jab and pushing that right hand through and that left hook. It worked. It was successful until obviously Fury came along.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, again, even then, like I think Klitschko needs the flowers a little bit more than what he gets, and there's always going to be that thing about him because it was boring and it was methodical and it was like when you think of an Eastern European fighter, it's them, right? It's the Klitschkos. Changed a little bit now with like the Usyks and the Lomas and the ones that are a little bit more flamboyant and you know a little bit matrixy. How do you see like that upper middle band working itself out? Who do you think like kind of pulls away? Do you think Usyk and Dillian, or I mean, how do you see that going?
I think you got obviously mentioned Joyce in that mix, but I think the Povetkin Dillian White fight is crucial to that. Will be the next because they get WBC mandatory, I think, from that, don't they?
They do.
And I think this is a really tough fight for Dillian White. I really like Dillian White. I'm a big fan, but I see Povetkin doing the same thing again. I don't know why. Just keep playing it. I hope he doesn't, but I just get the feeling he can do it again. Olympic gold medalist. I know he's 40, 41, but I can see it happening again. I think he's got to instill that bit of killer instinct we know Dillian White for. He didn't take the chance. When he knocked him down twice, there was a minute left in that round, and they was telling him to calm down, calm down. I think that's when we need that body snatcher. When he's got a minute left, he should have tried to finish him off. But hopefully he'll look at that fight and he'll think, I've got to come through it a bit more.
I totally agree. I think Povetkin gets pushed to the side a lot more than he should. Like he legit as they come and hard as fuck. Like he's a hard guy to get out of there and skilled.
Really. 100%. But I hope Dillian White does it. He was boxing lovely, wasn't he? He was boxing really nice.
He really
it's
was.
Just the nature of the heavyweight division.
That's it.
Yeah. Plus, like you said, you know, there's nothing that Povetkin hasn't won.
No.
Right? If it was amateur or pro, he has done it. And they kind of used him as a really dangerous like gatekeeper, didn't they, for a bit? And then he started to win again, and you're just like, oh.
Like with Price and everything, it was like that was risky.
How many defeats has he had? How many defeats has he actually had? 1 or 2, isn't it? Or was it more?
He lost to AJ.
2, I think.
Yeah, it's not many, and he got a drug that he got done on a drug charge. Yeah,
you can't. There's no disgrace in losing to them guys, is there? No disgrace whatsoever. So he's got to be rated with them top 5, 6 heavyweights out there. Really, if you think about it.
What do you think with Usyk and Joyce then?
I think, looking at the WSB, I watched that when it was on 6 years ago. 5 rounds, boxing like that. Usyk can do it. And you look at Joyce now, he's like a different person now, Joe Joyce. He's like a completely matured, and he's in his prime now. To hold someone off like Joyce now, 6'6", 18.5 stone, it's going to be a very, very tough ask. And what I'm surprised,
massive head.
and what I'm happy with, or what I'm really pleased to see, is he started this camp in sort of the shape he was in at the end of the bar camp. Sometimes he'll come out a bit chunkier, and there's nothing wrong with that because he'll slim down. But he's starting this camp from the best place he's ever started from. So that can only be a good thing. And yeah, as you said, I don't think Usyk's got the power to knock Joyce out. I don't think many people on the planet have. So he's got to box him for 12 rounds, and that's going to be difficult to do with a 6'6" juggernaut hunting you down.
So this is a rare opportunity for someone that's actually worn one of those powerful jabs, right? They you saw them like they're almost like slow mo, and then at the very end, like Savannah Marshall has the same thing, where they look like these very reserved, like half speed shots. And then at the end, they just go smack.
No, trust me, when you get hit by, they're like thuds in your face. The most thudding jab, just all his weight, like, and it's deceiving Joe as well because he looks slow, but he really isn't. And I think there's a lot to do with his timing of your shots. He'll read your shots. He's very good at reading people, and he'll time shots perfectly. And I think that's what he does because I've got a nice sharp jab. But if it's the timing of it, I've always got, when we're sparring, I've always got to mix up the type of jab I'm throwing. Because if I get too repetitive with the same jab, like a piston jab the whole time, he'll time it perfectly. And that's what he was doing against Dubois.
I'm very interested to see what happens with him and Usyk, because it'd be a bit unlikely to outbox Usyk.
Yeah, I agree.
And you're not going to outmove him.
No.
And you, unlike, it's a tough one, right? Because
it is. It's not an easy fight for either of them, is it? Really?
No.
But what the thing is with Joe is, when he fought in his last fight, he wasn't the juggernaut, was he? He was reserved. He was boxing to the right, moving away from that big right hand and left hook as best he could. But now he could go into his comfort zone, which is hunting people down, seeking, destroying, as that other one was built, but it didn't work out like that. So he can be what he naturally is, and let's see what it will be. If Usyk outboxes him for 12 rounds, fair play to him, because that is an unbelievable achievement.
Absolutely. So
respect to him for stepping up too, like
big time, massively. Because you saw in the Chisora fight, the first 3-4 rounds, he was struggling with the strength and size of Chisora, really, wasn't he? It's going to make a difference. Fighting a big 18, 19 stone heavyweight, it's going to tell. It will tell again.
Yeah, we did something like the Fight Companions. So we was doing like a live show on that one, and we had one of our boys who's a welterweight.
Yeah,
actually, he was part of the Peacocks lot with Daniel up until very recently. Yeah, and basically he was just saying, like, even before the fight starts, he's like, Del Boy is going to come out and he's going to be swinging like the back of the hand shots. He's going to be punching his ankle, his knees, hitting him in the legs, everything. And that's exactly what he did. Like, he made it so rough, didn't he?
Cool. It was uncomfortable work for Usyk. You could see he was uncomfortable.
Of course it was.
But that's what gives me hope with Joyce, is that Joyce is not the same as Del Boy, but he's a mobile, more athletic version of that sort of style of coming forward, and he's got more to his game than Del Boy, I think. So you don't get to an Olympic final without having more to your game, do you? That's the bottom line of it, and in my opinion, winning that. So it's going to be interesting to see if Usyk can step it up again, and he should be able. He could. It's going to be a great night's watch. It'll be, I think, for a boxing fan or someone who watches boxing, it's going to be a great fight, not just for the casual fans.
Yeah, hell yeah. And it's almost the perfect game plan, because you saw with, like, obviously Maidana and Floyd the first time, Maidana caught him off guard with just those unorthodox swinging. In the rematch, he tried to box him. And it's like we were saying, you're not going to outbox him. That's not going to happen. You've got to take it and give him something that he maybe has.
You've got to take the fight to him. And that's perfect for Joe Joyce, because that's what he's known for doing.
Interesting.
I mean, like you said, it's a great fight to see what happens.
Yeah.
And then from there, you kind of have whoever wins from that one and whoever wins from Dillian.
That's a big step up.
And Povetkin. Then you've got like an absolute second tier, haven't you, between 1 and 2.
That's the thing, because that Povetkin White fight makes them WBC mandatory, and then the WBO's on the line. It might be, mightn't it? I think
interim or.
So then they're the two sort of fights with the people next in line. And then you've got, as you said, your Chisoras, you've got your Joe Parkers, your Ruizes, you've got all these other guys who are in that mix still. Otto Wallin is another one.
Wallin,
He keeps getting it done, actually.
Yeah. Well, it ain't bad. And then you got like the Heliuses and the I mean,
Brazil.
like how do you feel about like the belt situation now? Because like WBA's got 4 belts for their champion. WBC's got 3, I think. For it's for up and coming, it's going to be like wicked when you pick up like a WBO Intercontinental, a WBO European, an IBF, whatever. They're cool to have.
Well, we know what the bottom line of it is. It's sanctioning fees, isn't it?
Of course it is.
That. They're getting sanctioning fees. That's what it's all about. But for me, or someone else coming up, like your Fabio Wardleys or your guys ahead of me, your Babbiches, that sort of guys who are in the Matchroom stable, they could be looking at these belts and thinking, right, that's another one I can work up the ladder to. So in a way, there's good and bad of it, because it's frustrating. Politics gets involved with it a lot. But for guys coming up, it's good stepping stones. And that might encourage people to them bigger fights. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I love Wardley. Like, I think he's an absolute joy to watch. He's wicked for the sport. He speaks well. He looks the part. He's
interesting backstory too. Like.
Yeah.
His journey to the pro ranks is not dissimilar from mine, because I had 4
exactly.
He had 4 white collar fights. So for me, going looking at him and see what he's done to become an English heavyweight champion, unbelievable. So it's great for me, and I hope he does really well. We spar each other a lot. We're sparring on Friday, actually. So
are you really?
Yeah, we spar quite a lot now. Obviously, he's coming up to his fight with Molina, which is going to be a good.
Yeah.
And I hope he comes through it, because then he's on to even bigger things than that.
It's amazing. Like he's like we said, he's a genuinely good guy. We had him on here a couple of months ago, wasn't it?
I mean, time is an illusion in this.
Yeah, it's all just a suggestion, isn't it?
Yeah, everybody seems the same, doesn't it?
Mate.
They must be planning on keeping you busy, because I mean, I don't want to forecast and curse anything, but you're going to be getting people out of there. So I'm imagining they're going to.
Yeah, well, I hope it continues, this showing my power. But now I've shown it, I think there's a bit of pressure off of me in the terms of looking for them knockouts, and people know I'm heavy-handed, so it gives me a bit of breathing space. Like, people know I can, and it's good for me myself to know that, because you can always look good in sparring and do all this great training, but until you get in there and have your first pro debut, it's a different kettle of fish. So I am going to be kept busy. 5 or 6 times I've been told I'm going to fight this year, which would be brilliant.
Nice.
My learning's going to be in these fights, building my way up, and there'll be a lot of social media pressure. People telling me, fight this guy. I've already been at a YouTube comment, someone saying, "Oh, he's not ready for Fury yet." And I was like, "Yeah, no problem."
Yeah. Thanks for that. Problem. Cheers, Professor. How do you have you started? I mean, other than like that comment, are you starting to get? Because you got a decent following now, aren't you? Like 15,000 on Instagram, and I don't really understand Twitter, if I'm honest. Like Jake, who set this up for us, mate, he tries. He really tries with us and Twitter, but we're just too old, mate.
Yeah, I'm not.
You know what I mean?
Twitter has got a lot of people. People are more free with their opinions on Twitter, aren't they? Like a lot of fake accounts.
Yeah.
I don't really pay much attention to it, but Instagram, I've got a good following. But where I'm from in Romford in Essex, there's some great people who always back you. People back each other around here, and it's great to be in that environment. There's a lot of footballers who come from here. You've got Ray Parlows, the Romford Pele, who's obviously Steve Davis, another sportsman who's from here. So it's a good area. Yeah, Jessie J, she's another one from Essex. So that's great. And also, where I went to Exeter Uni as well, got great support from people down there, and that's people come from all over the country. So it's a great mix of people I've got supporting me, and I'm really grateful for it.
Have you dealt with any absolute like trolls and haters yet?
I don't. It does not wind me up. People try. I think there's got to be a couple of people on YouTube who've said some stuff, but for me, it really I can't get bothered by it, because I'm living the dream.
That's it.
And if I'm in the public domain, people are going to have opinions about me, aren't they? So I've got to be willing to take it, and it doesn't bother me as long as I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and as long as it lasts, it lasts. There's nothing to worry about, is there?
Absolutely. We always go in on here because it's just also of fight sports. It's the worst because you know there's someone sitting in their mum's basement just like jacking off too much and talking too much shit. It's like, mate, come on.
Just calm down. Yeah, we're doing something with our lives. You've got to give. That's why I never badmouth any fighter ever, because to get into that ring, no matter what level, it takes a certain level of bravery to do that, and honor, and you have respect for people who do that. So to talk people down, there's people who are not happy with themselves and they try and put it onto other people. So we just got to feel sorry for them, really, haven't we?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how we try and conduct this. We will comment on the situation.
Yeah.
It's not for us to comment on the person. Like
No,
the
exactly.
Dubois situation was like the most recent big thing at the minute. It was an immediate for us. Like again, watching it live, we was all there. We were recording while it was going on, and it was just like that was a weird stoppage. He must be that something's happened more so than he's quit. And then you got like Frampton and Hay and all these other ones like properly
that
giving
surprised
it. And it's
us
just
because
like,
we get it from the couch warriors, but I was surprised at some of the fighters, the way that it's like, well, clearly, because he was doing great, like clearly he's hurt. He wouldn't be stopping for no reason.
Exactly. But that's what your immediate reaction, I think, as a fighter is, what's he stopping for? That's you do immediately think, because you don't. But then a few hours after watching it, or the next morning, it starts running through your mind, thinking his eyeball could be rolling through his socket there, and he's not getting any help from his corner, and like there could be serious damage. And then it's not about quitting. It's just your basic instinct to preserve yourself to come again. And it wasn't about him quitting. He's not a quitter. He should have had more help from his corner, and they should have said to him, "Look, Daniel, it's clear that your eye. This must have been a communication thing. You should have said, "Look, Daniel, your eye's clearly closing up. We've got to protect it. You'll give you one more round in like round 6 or round 7. Give it everything you got, and then we'll pull you out. We'll get the rematch." That's all they've got to do, isn't it? I don't know what's going on, but that's what I would have said.
Yeah,
exactly. Because likewise, he's a young guy. You know, it's like for one fight you're going to risk a career. Like tonight's not the night. Fight another day.
Fight another day, and he can still come back now. That's how young he was. It's not as if he was 28, 29, 30. Even then, he can still come back. But he's 23 or at the time. He's only a year older than me. He's a kid still. That's the truth of it.
And it's like you said, he shouldn't be in that position, because I don't know if you saw the UFC on the weekend, but there was like basically an illegal knee to a downed opponent. And the referee kept asking, "Are you okay?" And as a fighter, like clearly he wants to continue, but he just couldn't. Like he literally got knee square in the face. And it's like the ref should call that and say, even if you don't know the rules, call it. Same thing with the corner. Say, you've got this amount of time. Otherwise, that's it. Don't leave it up to the fighter. They're going to do too much.
John, you know when things get a little bit naughty outside faces, that's what this knee was like. That's exactly what this knee was like. The geezer was down. He was down on one hand and one knee, and this geezer just went, bam, out.
Smashed it. Doesn't sound like. I saw the Adesanya. Was it the Adesanya fight? The light heavyweight bout. He moved up to light heavyweight. I'm not a massive UFC fan, to be honest with you, but I did watch that, and he stepped up there, didn't he? Maybe the weight played a role. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you watch the bare knuckle at all? Do you get into that? Or?
Not really at all. I like. I've heard a few stories about Lenny McLean and the bare knuckle fighter. Mark Tibbs put a video of him actually on his Instagram the other day, and he was a good bare knuckle fighter. But I know a few people beat him as an amateur boxer and pro boxer. So it is there are different environments, aren't they? Fighting in UFC, fighting in boxing, fighting on the streets. It's all different attributes to fighting in different arenas and venues.
Fact. Back to before. As a young, undefeated, 100% KO rated pro, what is the price for you to potentially lose an eyeball in a fight? Is it but like it's a valid question, right? Because it's, you know, I mean, this is a bit about context, right? So from a fighter in the game, at a world title stage, is that where you think fuck it? Or is it at no point do you think I'm going to lose an eyeball? I would look sick as a pirate, but
for me, if you ask me to fight, I would never. It's easy to say it, but I think generally in my makeup, I'd rather get flat on the floor than have to quit. But I don't. That sounds like I'm saying Daniel Dubois quit. I don't. He didn't quit. You can't tell what's going to happen until you're put in that situation. And I think it's up to the trainer and the referee and the doctors to hold a fighter back, because Daniel Dubois had to make a decision himself there when it shouldn't have had to be made for him, by him. It should have been made for him, because the doctors weren't even having a look at his eye, were they really? No. And completely closed up eye, and it could have had a detached retina or anything like that. But for me, in a world title fight, you don't. Any fight really, a fighter doesn't want to stop. They've got to be protected.
No, but then that again goes back to how much, because it was a orbital bone and the orbital floor and a compressed nerve, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Mate,
the nerve is the one that's going to be doing
pain
that,
in your face.
Yeah, it's not normal. It's not
Yeah.
natural.
You're going to feel that, and it's going to feel like hot lightning going through your brain, and you're going to think, well, I'm dying in the ring now, aren't you?
Yeah. You don't know how you're going to react to that, because it's not the fact that the punches are beating you up or you're getting pummeled by the other guy. It becomes the fact of you've got something intrinsically deep inside you that's worrying you. It becomes like a fatal accident type territory, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So it's a different thing.
Ali with Norton, when he broke his jaw in the 3rd round and did a 15-rounder, 12 more rounds with a broken jaw. Fuck.
But that is awful. But that's like he knows what's wrong there, doesn't he? Like he's got a broken jaw or a broken nose. You know, oh, I've just got a broken nose. When it's your eye and you think it's a different kettle of fish.
Yeah, like Malignaggi
Which
did it with Cotto, didn't he? Whole cheekbone destroyed in the 4th. He said he felt like his teeth were leaking out of his head, and he's like, "Have I got my teeth?" Like, yeah, don't worry about it, bro.
Did you hear about the Chris Eubank senior? He said, I think it was in the Michael Watson fight, as terrible as that was, or it might have been a different fight. It might have been Nigel Benn. He bit his tongue halfway in his tongue.
Yeah, split it down the middle.
Yeah, that's terrible. But obviously, what happened to Michael Watson was horrendous, and it's a tragedy. But
I think that was the first Ben fight that happened. But yeah, he said that it was excruciating. Like his tongue was literally split down the middle. You're like, oh.
Yeah, not a nice fault. But in the fight, things like that gets put to the back of your mind. You don't think about like physical injury to your lips or your cuts in your mouth, and in sparring, a bit more because you're not fully in fight mode in a sparring.
Hyped up, yeah,
you're not fully hyped up. Your adrenaline isn't pumping. You try and stay as relaxed as possible. But obviously, when you go to fight, you're in a completely different zone. So things like that get put to the back of your mind a little bit.
So your career and your path in an ideal journey. Yeah. Like you said, 5 fights more, 4 or 5 more this year. Wicked. I mean, that's basically they're all learning on the job fight. So say 2022, are we saying like area title, British title, starting to look into like the trinkets, maybe a global title? Shout out to the global title. I don't even know what that is, but wicked. But
in terms of that, right, I was thinking about this the other day. I was watching Tyson's knockouts for his working up to the Trevor Berbick fight, and the big difference now to 20, 30 years ago is social media pressure. Yeah, that's the big thing. So I haven't got the luxury of being able to go, here's 20, 30 people that you can fight and for 2, 3 years and just learn. I have to have a sort of limit on how much time I've got. And hopefully they can give me a year, 18 months, and then you can start stepping up to area level and English level, domestic level. So, but that's the thing. I haven't had a 10-year amateur experience, but that doesn't necessarily matter. It doesn't matter in this new age of boxing. People can learn on the job, and people have done it in the past as well. So the ideal setup would be to have these 5, 6 fights, get to 5, 6 and 0, and then we can build again next year, try and fight forward against different opponents, and then hopefully after 18 months, 2 years, I'll be ready to be thrown into the mix a little bit more than I am now.
Yeah, and I think with Eddie and Matchroom, they seem to have a pretty good history with young fighters, right? They've done a good job with Conor Benn. They've done a great job with AJ. They've done a great job. I don't think there's anyone that you can say that they've done a bad job with. Fabio, of course, Fabio.
He's been matched brilliant, like not brilliant.
Even Babbage. You know what I mean?
It's not that I'm saying Fabio's been matched brilliantly and so he's got easy fights. He's been given the right test at the right time, because Richard Flaherty, a tough test for anyone. Tough
so
fight.
Big, wasn't it? How big was that walk-in though?
Oh, unbelievable. How long did he spend coming down? It's about 10 minutes.
Have you asked Fabio about it?
No, I
haven't actually. Fucking livid. When you ask him on Friday, like he told us about it, he just went off for about 10 minutes straight he was fuming. He was like, just get in the fucking ring. Yeah. We're gonna he just came out furious that this was gonna happen now. And he copped it because of it. Yeah.
Well, Fabio was gonna fight Lucas Brown as well, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. But now he's got that Eric Molina fight. I heard him talking about it today. I think Eric Molina was meant for Babbage. So they're sort of slotted in, and it's a good fight for Fabio. I really hope he comes through, because Molina's still dangerous. I know he's probably passed over the hill a little bit, but he's got a good right hand, and it's going to be a good test. So if Fabio gets through him, his stocks rise that little bit more again, and it's great work from Match.
Yep. Have you done anything with Babbage?
No, nothing. Never.
No.
Never. No.
Because I don't know what he has to do to kind of shake, because he is a smaller heavyweight.
Yeah.
And they keep saying, you know, that like they make his size a thing. And I think until you see him with someone like of your size or bigger even, there's a few of the boys that are even bigger than you, aren't there?
Yeah, there are. There's plenty bigger than me. I'm probably like a medium size. I'm 6'5" and 17 and a half stone. I'll grow some more, but you've got 6'7", 6'8" monsters out there now, haven't you? Really?
That's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
I like fighting.
I always like that they list AJ at 6'6", and you walk like you if you've been in the presence of that fucker, you're like, you ain't 6'6", fucking 6'6".
It's the same with Joe. I think Joe's 6'6"
Yeah.
and a half, really. Because I'm just about 6'5" and touch it, and he's about an inch and a half taller than me. So I think it's his hair as well. He's put like a big,
obviously
another inch or two. That's the thing. But yeah,
there's a picture of Ian and Tyson together at a book signing, right?
Yeah.
And Tyson's sitting down. Ian, what, you 6'1"?
6.
6. Like, and Tyson's still a little bit taller than him sitting down.
Oh, Tyson Fury. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Because I was like, Mike came up to like here, and I was like, how the fuck were you knocking out all those ones? Yeah, like Tyson Fury sitting down was huge.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I think for me, my philosophy on it is once you're over 15, 16 stone, you're a big man and you've got your full strength. Like Babbage, someone who's obviously a small heavyweight, still a strong man because he's fulfilling his potential in terms of his complete size. He's not starving himself. He's fully strong. He's training to his best abilities. And if any man over 90, 95 kilos hits you, you're going to know about it.
Yeah.
What did you think of the whole talk of the bridgerweight situation and all that?
I don't think I make that, to be honest with you, and I don't really want to because I want to everything I want. You know what I mean? But that's a good weight for like David Adelaide, Fabio Wardley, them sort of guys can make that weight really because I'm a touch heavier than them guys. I weighed in quite light on my debut actually. I was 16 stone 13. I think the bubble, not even my natural. I think my not nerves, but you get tense and you don't think about eating. Normally at home, if I was at home for that whole build up for that fight week, I would have been eating normally. But because you're in a bubble, you're in different routine with food. I normally weigh in about 17 stone 5, 17 stone 6. So
a bit down,
yeah.
But I heard them
fucking jacked.
Yeah, I was.
You look like a unit, yeah.
Yeah, I was still big, but I think it's just the way it went. Sometimes I weigh in the morning, I'll be 17 stone 7. Sometimes I'll weigh 17 stone 1, 16 stone 13. It's just weird. When you're quite a big guy, your weight can fluctuate very easily, can't it?
Amen.
Yeah. My dad says the same thing.
Yeah. When you were saying about, being like 15, 16 stone and having full strength, I was sitting there thinking, yeah, but we're going to have to cut the doors open to get me out. But it's going to be all right.
You have to walk through the doorway sideways, isn't you? You're going to be doing
There's a little bit of sucking in going on, but it's going to be all right. I was going to say the only person that can probably take Babbage out pretty easily is Liam Neeson, isn't it? Because like he is all of the Eastern European taken bad man.
Yeah, it's his speciality.
Yeah. Nice. So with regards to like with Tibbs and all of them, are you happy with everything going on? How much are you learning?
I'm learning loads. I've got to go out to Fuerteventura in October, November time with Billy Joe for his camp. Learning with Jimmy Tibbs is in our training setup now as well, while Mark's away with Billy. So training. If you told me 2 years ago, a year ago even, when I was selling meat with my dad on his van after I finished uni to help us survive through lockdown, that I'd be having my matchroom debut, training with Daniel Dubois and managed by SJM Boxing and promoted by Eddie Hearn, I'll be saying, have a laugh, mate, and move on. And now I'm here.
And on our podcast, obviously.
Obviously. I've made it now.
Mate, prepare for the followers, you know what I mean? Is your dad a butcher then?
Well, basically, we sold cheese wholesale. We sell cheese, basically, to restaurants and cafes and other wholesalers and stuff, like around the supplier, basically. And because all the restaurants and cafes shut during lockdown, customer base just wiped 95% gone. So we came up with the idea of selling meat door to door. So this is what our typical day was like in that first lockdown. We'd go to work. I'd wake up at 10, so it weren't too bad of a start. We'd go and get the deliveries ready, get all the food ready. We'd go delivering to about 1 a.m., 2 a.m. every night. And then I'd come home. I'd finish my university dissertation till about 3, 4 a.m. And then from 4 a.m. till 5 a.m., I do a bit of trading in the garden, shadow boxing, and I wake up again 10 a.m. the next day, 6 days a week. Sunday, we had a day off, thank God. And that's what it was like for 3 months of my life. So from going from that to now here, I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky to be here.
Is your dad doing all right now?
That is fucking incredible. Well done, bro.
It was crazy. It was crazy. My dad's still struggling because there's no one to set. Like even when things open the 12th of April, I can't sit inside a restaurant. You can't go in a cafe and sit down where workers want to go, who are mainly who we sell to. But we're still ticking along slowly. But it's tough for everyone at the minute. Everyone can't. People just want to go to work, and my dad's received no help in terms of in this lockdown from any of the government grants or anything. They've given him nothing because he's technically still open. Because if he shuts, all his customers will just go to other people. But we want tiny bits, so it's very tough at the minute. But everyone else is in bad position, in worse positions as well. So we've got lucky we can do something at least.
Hmm.
Has he got a website or anything you want to? You never know, mate.
Yeah. JWF Food Delivery on Instagram. It's JWF_food delivery. Not got a website, but we're on Instagram. So if you want any food, meat orders, top quality meat as well. It's all restaurant quality, and I eat it all the time. So
look at the result of it. I want some of that meat. Fuck.
Go on, put an order in. We'll see you out. Do you a proper deal.
Nice. Everyone listening, make sure you get involved.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, man. What do you do supplement wise? Are you just like au naturel, or are you a lick of the creatine? Because rugby boy, come on now.
Yeah, well, I went for a stage once of being on creatine. I weren't even taking it right. I need to take 10 or 11 grams. I was taking like 3 grams, so it didn't even work properly.
Right.
I've got a nutritionist now. I've always been natural, proper 5 or 6 meals a day, 6,500 calories a day to fuel my training days. So that's a lot of calories. But now I've got a nutritionist on board, PRP Performance, Paul Parker. Shout out, Paul. He's given me a few different things. So I'm just going to start taking some creatine and some MRM recovery drinks and stuff just to fuel me straight after training, because it's an extra little 1% you need, isn't it? To like get nutrition in. So once your nutrition's right, everything falls into place. And there's a few little cod liver oil, just stuff like that. Nothing, I don't go crazy on it all, but it just helps to supplement with a little bit of 1% or 2% stuff. Every little bit helps, doesn't it?
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, I'll after this, we'll probably cut this little bit out, but I'll DM you a company that we work with that a lot of MMA fighters, a lot of combat athletes use their gear, and that they might sponsor you. Who knows?
Because it costs a lot of money, all this protein gear and all this stuff. So
yeah, mate.
Send them over.
Good stuff, organic.
We'll link you up, mate. They're brilliant. They hook us up. It's great.
I really appreciate that. That'd be brilliant. Thank you.
No worries at all, man.
Streets, do you have anything else? Because I think this young man needs an early night. He's got work.
That was epic, man. Thank you so much, bro.
Right, I've got some food to get down me now. I'm looking forward to eating, talking about this food.
What was that again? JW Foods?
JWF Food Delivery.
JWF Food Delivery on Instagram. Boom.
Yeah, that's it.
It's getting an immediate follow.
Yeah,
mate,
I'll follow you straight back. Don't worry about that. Look at that. It's brilliant.
Mr. Fisher, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Thank you so much.
Can't wait to see you back out there, champ.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really enjoyed that. It's brilliant. And thanks for having me on. Brilliant.
Hope we see you again, man.
See you later.
Take care.
Bye, boys.
Have a good one. Bye.